It says I'm live. I guess I'm live. Hello, knitters. Barbara Benson here. I am an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. And we are here for our monthly live Ask Me Anything, where we can talk about anything knitting, yarn, fiber related, as well as other random questions that we always end up doing. I need to take a little bit of a second because I haven't had an opportunity to make sure that I tried to get this is the first time I've used the webcam since the move. And I say, so I very much tried to do a YouTube live. And it has been the way we have done it is the last Thursday evening of every month. Now, I've taken a break as I was moving across country, but we're kicking it off again. I expect that the extended hiatus I took is going to cut down on the number of people who show up, but I'm excited. However many of you are here to come and have fun and chat with me, and I needed to do something about my eyebrows. They're a little out of control. I don't know. So let's see who we got. We got Tracy. I'm so excited to see you in Kansas. In Kansas. So I was watching, it was this British guy trying to make chili or something on YouTube. And he was talking about that someone from Arkansas was telling him how to do it. And I'm like, that does not fill me with confidence in your ability to do this quintessentially American thing, if you call it Arkansas. So that was funny, but also understandable because it's spelled like Arkansas. I mean, I don't know. Hello, Celeste. We are on the same coast. This is definitely something that I would like to talk about. And Celeste, since you're on the same coast, if this time slot is still good, I decided to keep it because we've been doing 7 p.m. Eastern time. I set it on my end to 4 p.m. Pacific time so that we would be at the same time. But there's an opportunity here to tweak the time either earlier or later if that's going to work better for people. But for now, I was just going to keep it at 7 o'clock. Oh, hello, Trish. I'm so glad you're here. And Daniela, thank you. I'm excited to be back. Hello, Miss Thibodeau. I just love that last name. Thibodeau makes me happy. Hello, Vivian. Oh, Mark, the bass player is here. I'm excited you're here. Martha from Southern California. Excellent. We're on the same coast now. See, what the thing is I was always on the West Coast. It was just that I was on the West Coast of Florida. And now I'm on the West Coast of the whole continent. Hello, Arnetta in DC. Angelo, hello in Brazil. Oh, how exciting. I always love it when we start getting international. It's always fun. No, it is not pronounced Arkansas. It is definitely not pronounced Arkansas. It's just funny that the person said it. And I'm like, as soon as he said it, I was like, really, anything else you have to say past this point is invalid. I cannot take anything you say as truth, because if you don't know that basic fact, I'm not going to trust you to make chili. Arkansas City. There's an Arkansas City. That's funny. I drove through Kansas City. On my big old drive, I drove through Kansas City, but only the Missouri part of it. I did not get into Kansas on this trip. Elizabeth, what is your best advice that you wish someone had shared with you before moving cross country? I honestly don't think I have any advice to give to anyone. Honestly, it has gone more smoothly than I could have anticipated. And I guess maybe that'd be a tiny piece of advice, because one of the things I think that made it, especially since we were moving to a city that we had only ever vacationed in once. I had been here twice. I came to visit knitting friends, actually. And then after I really, Seattle just kind of called to me so that next summer I convinced my family to make our family summer trip to um, we actually stayed in Federal Way. It's like halfway between Seattle and Tacoma, and we drove all through that. So, but as a vacation, but then when we were very serious, and I might have mentioned this in a previous live, when we were very serious, like this is what is going to happen. This past holiday season between Christmas and New Year's, my son and I, just the two of us, flew to here to Seattle. And what we did is we used Zillow and searched for rental properties. And then I was driving, son can't drive a rental car yet. And we would put in, and it's not like any place that we thought we would rent, but like something that was within our price range. And we would drive to that place. He would navigate to that place, and then we would drive around the neighborhood. But then the big thing, and I would say the big piece, because I'm trying to figure out what neighborhood in this big city of all different kinds of different neighborhoods, what neighborhood would be best fit for my family. Once we looked at a few houses and looked at the neighborhoods, I had my son find a grocery store. I'm like, what is the local grocery store for this neighborhood? What grocery store are these people going to be using? And then we would go to the grocery store and get out of the car and go and walk around the grocery store and see, what is their produce like? Is this a grocery store that I would be happy being my grocery store? But also looking at the patrons, looking at the people there, because that is going to give you like a really good reflection of the what the culture is in that particular neighborhood, what the socioeconomic status is, what the social makeup is. It gives you all that information. And I'm not saying that any of it's good or bad. It's just, it gives you information and you know what works best with your family. But, you don't want to show up and be going to a grocery store that is not a grocery store that you don't want to shop in for the next 10 years, that like, if you're like, I could never make this my regular grocery store, that really probably isn't a neighborhood that you should be living in. So I guess if that's advice, it's when you're going and you're looking at the neighborhoods, go and look in the grocery stores, because that's like your day-to-day life. And that's the day-to-day life of all the people in that area. And you need to know if you fit in that area. So, and like, that is how we ended up choosing the area that we are living in. So I don't know if that was good. Ooh, Jenna, cooler weather in Cincinnati. Excellent. Okay, okay, my earlier thing, I watch a lot of cooking content on YouTube, and I watched this woman make Midwestern food for her Italian husband, and then he would critique it, and they made Cincinnati chili. And actually, they said they made Skyline chili. And I'm like, Skyline does not have a monopoly on chili. But I love Cincinnati chili. And they were like, this is good. How can this be good? I'm like, because it's delicious. What are you crazy people? Mrs. Bass Player says hi too. Oh, thank you. Tell her hi for us. Hello, Holly in Pennsylvania. Hello, Angelo. Or did I already say Angelo? You know what? I say hi multiple times as I'm rolling down. Hello, Nicole in Winnipeg, Canada. I'm super close to Canada now. I don't think I'm super close to Winnipeg, but I am confident that Vancouver is going to be someplace I go. I want to take, there's a train that goes to Vancouver. I'm pretty excited about that. If you'd known I was driving a truck, I would have offered to help. Actually, my husband drove the truck, and that worked out just fine. I mean, it isn't current, but back in the day when he was worked for like, it's complicated, but he was essentially a corporate roadie. He had a CDL. He knew how to drive, but it was slow. Hello, Michelle. Okay, Tracy, you like the idea of looking at it. Really, the grocery store is, I thought about like, what is it that you are always at? and that you want it to be as close to you as possible. I mean, looking as close to you as possible. I mean, looking at like shopping areas, you're willing to drive a certain distance for shopping, but for grocery, for the I gotta run out because I forgot to get milk or whatever, you gotta have something close. Martha, you had to learn how to properly pronounce Arkansas now that your daughter's babies have moved there. Oh, cool. So Arkansas, I don't know where in Arkansas there are. I don't I don't know where in Arkansas they are, but the first time I no, the second time. This was actually my third time driving cross country. The second time I drove cross country, we went through Arkansas and Hot Springs, Arkansas. If y'all are anywhere near there, you might want to go take a look at it because Hot Springs, Arkansas is really, really cool because it's a very, very old city that was built there because of the hot springs. And it's almost similar to like onsen in Japan, except for the way it's done is not like as naked. But there are hot springs and there are all these like wellness spas. It's actually the time period of like when Kellogg was doing all of the spa stuff. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful little city with really interesting architecture. And it's super cool. So if you can go to Hot Springs, I recommend it. They also have lots and lots of rocks in Arkansas, like lots of rocks. They're like big into rocks. Hello, Tri-Spiral from Maryland. Thank you. I'm so glad you made it. Arkansas is really cool. So my my husband's family is actually from Stuttgart, Arkansas. And Stuttgart is the like duck hunting capital of the United States and maybe even the world, but because of all of the rice fields. Arkansas is very, very heavily into rice agriculture. And therefore, there are lots of ducks, and therefore, there. So I actually went to visit once for some duck festival that everybody was excited about. But I've been to Stuttgart, and I've been to other areas of Arkansas, but I can't remember their names. And then also Mississippi. That's like that's the area. Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi is the area that my husband's family is from. Greek chili, yes, it is amazing, Jenna. See, okay, Celeste. So I live in the same city as your sister, but she's in the Maple Heights area. See, I have no idea where Maple Heights are. It's funny because I keep on looking. I have I have bookmarked a couple of different things. Oh, I dropped my glasses. You guys are going to have to give me a moment to get them back. Excuse me. So I made a list. At this point, my list of food places I want to try is at 61. Every time I see a recommendation on TikTok or somebody says something to me, it gets bookmarked. And then I have the and I even customized the little icon. These are all the little yarn balls. So there's is it focused? I can't tell if it's in focus when I do this because I don't have my glasses on. So it's not in focus. No matter what I do, it's not in focus for me. So, but those are all the yarn stores I have marked, and there's 23. But as you can see, it goes kind of far up the coast and then down into Lake Tacoma. So I have an agenda. I have been to 2 so far. One, it was too quick. It was next to the IKEA, and we went to IKEA, and there was this huge sign that said yarn. I'm like, but it was like half hour before they closed, so I didn't get to stay there very long. But people will say this is in the blank area, and I'm like, I don't know what that area is because it's like the neighborhood name, and that's not on a map. And it's like, I don't know what that area is, but I'm trying to figure it out. See, again, Stanley Park. Don't know where Stanley Park is. I'm sure I can find it. So Tracy, oh, you've been to Hot Springs. It's really cool. I didn't expect someplace that cool to be in Arkansas. I mean, to be truthful, I was really surprised. I'm like, this is super cool. I had no one's ever told me that cool things like this were in Arkansas. Okay, so 1.5 miles southeast. Okay, so it's down maybe towards Tukwila. Um, I'm going to try all the yarn stores, Celeste, and I'm sure that they each have their own idiosyncrasies and funness. Vancouver. So my friend Fatima lives in Vancouver, so I'm excited about exploring Vancouver because I'll have like, you know, that is one thing. But and actually there's a part of me that wants. Apparently, you can take a ferry to Vancouver. And there's like part of Vancouver that's in the United States. I don't know. I don't know. There's so much. There's so much. I really do want to do the ferry to Vancouver. And I want to take the ferry over to Bainbridge Island because that's like apparently when you have the best chance of seeing orcas, which it would be very cool to see orcas, even if they are like murder ocean pandas. I mean, they're like really vicious creatures. I went to the beach in West Seattle, the Alki Beach, and I have very, very high standards for beaches, having lived in Sarasota for the length of time that I did. And let's just say they're not exactly white sand beaches, but hey, there's ocean. And as I was leaving the beach, I saw a sign on there's this big sign that said, "Don't harass seals or sea lions," with this picture of the sea lion and a big knot symbol. And I was like, there are seals and sea lions for me to harass? I need to know when they are here. Where are they? And my friend, it was with Fatima, and she's like, no, they're like a specific season. So I have to figure out when that season is so that I can go down. I'm not saying I'm going to harass any sea lions or seals, but I will definitely take my camera and be incredibly excited because I totally want to see sea lions and seals. I will try my best to not harass any of them because frankly, I know that they could probably kill me. I think that I saw a video of someone who was letting their 4-year-old try to ride a sea lion like it was a merry-go-round thing. And I was like, whoa, you stupid. I mean, that's a bad plan. Don't do that. That's one of the ones that let them try to pet buffalo. I'm like, animals, wild animals are wild animals. These are not for your entertainment. You know what? I'm going to do my best about the yarn store trips to do recordings. I always have to work up the guts to say something to the person and ask for the permission. And then there's the whole walking around and talking to myself part of the program that makes me feel kind of anxious and silly, but I will do it. I will do it for y'all. Hello, you're in Sequim, Washington? I got to Google that because I wonder how far away from that is. Sequimwa. I just Googled Sequim and it showed me giant pictures of gorgeous lavender farms. Oh, here, why should I move? Unique climate, peaceful environment, and scenic beauty. It is known for the Sequim Blue Hole. Dry climate with less rainfall. Absolutely gorgeous. How far away from this is I? Oh. So you're almost in Canada. That's almost Canada. That is pretty far away. But it's in the Olympic National Park. Yes, that is on my list. That is on my list. Can you drive to Sequim, or is that one of those things that you have to take a ferry to, or you got to go all the way down and around through Tacoma? I don't know. It sounds cool. You're giggling about murderous sea pandas. That's what they are, man. They're horrible. They're really, really vicious creatures. We just, dolphins in general are nasty creatures. I mean, in the great scheme of things, in the circle of life, they're not nice things. They're not nice creatures. Dolphins play with baby sunfish, molas, as frisbees because it's fun. I mean, they're just And if you've seen the is it the great whites or the orcas that smack the seals out of the water just for giggles? Like they launch them. It's dog eat dog out there. Do elephant seals? Yeah, they got the word elephant right in the word there, Angelo. I would be no. I would elephant seals. Yeah, they got the word elephant right in the word there, Angelo. I would be no. I would be a no on the elephant seals. They are monstrous creatures. Babies are always cute. Baby seals are very high on the list of some of the cutest animals that exist in nature. So cute, baby seals. They look so cute. Judy, you have a yarn festival coming up in Port Angeles. Yeah, again, don't know where that is. Learning, always. Is another city in Washington State. Oh my gosh. See, this is one of the really cool. Okay. So moving here from Florida. Florida's flat. Okay. Flat. Florida, flat. There's FL. The FL in Florida stands for flat. There's no anything that's not flat in Florida until you get in the panhandle. When you get up into the not in the panhandle, when you're in like the dangly part, nothing. When you're up in the panhandle, you might as well be in Alabama and Georgia. But in the bottom part of Florida, it's just flat. So mountains. And I've never lived anywhere that had like mountains. Atlanta is a lot more, I would say, hilly than people expect. Atlanta is in the foothills of the Appalachians, but the Appalachians are so very old that they're very worn down. So they don't have that kind of mountain effect that we think of when we think of mountains. And prior, I lived in Chicago, not a whole lot of mountains. I lived in New York, not a whole lot of mountains. And I lived in coastal South Carolina. Really, no mountains to speak of. Clemson. I did go to school at Clemson, and there was something that approached mountains, but not really. And you could go to Asheville when you get a little further up in North Carolina. You can get some mountain-esque type areas, but I've never lived any place that mountains were like just a part of daily life. If I go and I have a little balcony on the second floor at night when the sun is setting, it sets behind the Cascade Range, and I can see. I mean, they're way in the distance, but I can see them. And when the weather is clear and I'm driving in the right places, like when I'll come up over a hill, and all of a sudden you can see Tahoe, you can see the giant volcanoes, and it's like, holy crap, where did he come from? Like, whoa, hello. There we go. It's like, where'd that come from? It's like this giant volcano pops up out of nowhere. But yeah, this Port Angeles had a beautiful, beautiful mountain. So let's see here. This is similar to the other place. Okay, there's a place. I very much, okay, one of you, there's a place on this map. The name of it is Pysht. Pisht? That is a great name. Oh, and there I see Snug Harbor and Maple Grove and the Devil's Punch Bowl. That sounds like a fantastic place. And so there is, I'm going to write that down. So you're saying there is a Port Angeles Fiber Festival? That could be cool. I will look that up. My nose itch. First weekend of October. Okay. There, Angela. Yeah, orcas play volleyball with them. They're horrible. I mean, orcas are just that, and the whole thing. The orcas that are in the Mediterranean that are like killing all the yachts. That, I mean, it's kind of funny. But and then there's that pair. There's a pair of orcas that have figured out how to. Okay, wait a minute. No, that gets too gross. There's just orcas. They're scary, smart, and like really murderous. I'm gonna go with it. From Port Angeles, you can take the ferry to Victoria. Very cool. Oh, Harley, I look very relaxed tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Harley. You know what? I'm trying. I'm trying to be relaxed. Um, Having gotten through, I have been kind of keyed up about this move for so many months because it's just something that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And, many a slip twixt the cup and lip. And so just being here, once we got most of our stuff moved in, made me like a giant weight off my shoulders. And as I said, we went to IKEA 2 days ago. I went with my son and I got a couple more storage boxes and I got the last box that had just been sitting in my living room and I couldn't figure out what to do with this stuff. I got the last box out of my living room. So it feels a little more put together. It's starting to feel a little more like this is something we can live in. So it's just I feel probably a little bit more relaxed. And being on the lake, since we're directly on the lake, sitting and just looking at the water is incredibly soothing. I have to like lean out to see the mountains, but I can just look at the water and it's very soothing. Try Spiral. You've moved across the country 4 times. I bet you've gotten very good at going through your stuff and saying, nope, you're not coming with me. Since we significantly downsized, but not enough, we had to get a storage unit. We need to go through that stuff, but I'm not going to push for a little while. If you continue west from Port Angeles, you end up in Forks, which could be a really good thing or a really bad thing. Okay, I don't know about Forks. I don't know. This looks like a lot of really interesting area. The Dungeness National Wildlife. There's a lighthouse. There's just so much to explore. It's so very, very different from any place I've ever lived. Hasn't had this kind of the out like I've lived on both the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. And so living on the coast, I mean, it is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. There's absolutely beautiful stuff. And I've been to the Keys and I've been to all of that, but it's just a completely different thing, a different creature than what I'm seeing here. And I have not made it to the coast yet. So Alki Beach is actually on Elliott Bay. But I haven't been to like the coast, like where it's the Pacific Ocean. So that is, again, there's just so much to explore and so much new and different. And I can't wait. You can't handle getting rid of anything anymore. Okay. That is the opposite of what I thought, but whatever works for you. Karen, you barely survived moving down. In some ways, those short moves are almost as bad because with the short moves, you find yourself having a hard time justifying actually like paying for like a moving truck or a moving whatever. And you end up piecemealing it with hundreds of trips and doing it over and over because like, oh, I can just run this over. Oh, it's instead of it being like one giant fell swoop kind of thing, it nickel and dimes you to death. So, I mean, the little moves can be really bad. I had to move like apartments in Atlanta and it's rough. So they all have their own problems. Yes, the last box. Okay, so I did go to the yarn store. I want to talk about yarn a little bit. I went to it's called Maker's Mercantile, which is right next to the IKEA in Kent, just in case you need to know. And it's the only IKEA in the entire state of Washington, which, IKEAs are few and far between. I think one of my issues is, again, 20 years in Atlanta, a large chunk of those, the IKEA was 15 minutes away. So I was just used to the IKEA being a part of my like weekly life. And then there was zero IKEA. The closest IKEA in Sarasota was Tampa, and I never messed around with going there. And so having a close IKEA again could be a good or a bad thing. Not sure. But we went to the Maker's Mercantile, and Maker's Mercantile is a Skacel store. Like the whole store is owned by, it's like the retail front for the Skacel warehouse, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I need to talk to them more closely. So all the yarn in there is Skacel, and they have all the addies you could possibly want, and they have some classes, and I'm going to learn more about it. But I bought this. You guys see it? And this is called Simply Natural. And it is 40% baby alpaca, 40% merino wool. And it is 40% baby alpaca, 40% merino wool, and 20% mulberry silk. And I broke it. It's really absolutely, it's heavy worsted heading into Aran weight. And it's 183 yards and 100 grams. This is the first press olive color. But I really liked, one of the things that drew it to me is because you have this, so that it's the alpaca merino silk blend. Since alpaca and merino are both animal fibers and the silk is an insect fiber, it's going to take the dye significantly different. So these parts, you've got this interesting fleckiness to it, which is where the silk has not really taken the dye, because it's probably acid dye, and it is just got a really nice, beautiful texture to it. It's got a wonderfully soft, I mean, you would expect the softness from the alpaca. It's got a wonderfully soft hand. I got this, and I'm planning on doing a stitch lab for it. But isn't that pretty? They had some really good rich colors of it. And I don't know, you can expect to see a lot more Skacel stuff, because the store is absolutely lovely. It has beautiful things in it. Absolutely wild amount of samples. And I also bought, I just totally messed that up. I'll have to fix that. I bought, again, so I'm going to try, because you guys know I do Swatch Lab. I'm going to think of coming at Swatch Lab from a different direction. I'm not necessarily, that'll get my standard swatch. I bought a needle, and I was thinking about swatching sort of a tool version of Swatch Lab, where I try a new tool and see how that works. So this is from Addie. This is the Unicorn Rocket. So this is, and I don't know enough about it. I obviously bought the ludicrously long one, because that's what I do. But it's got like a spiral to it, which some people, and what it is that when the, we've talked about this before, that having a metal needle can make you lose stitches if the yarn is particularly slippery. So it's kind of like speed bumps. So it's to slow it down just a hair, but also it's the whole to try to help your hands with repetitive strain, because it's not quite a circle. It's not a perfect cylinder, so it should have less strain. And it's not to the extent that the actual rockets, the rocket squared, which are the ones that are like the square needles, but also this one is different than the regular unicorns have a more blunt tip, and this has a pointier tip. So that's why I grabbed this one. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to have to play with it. And that's why I was thinking of making a, a test track kind of thing, tool test track or something like that. I don't know. I like making up alliterations. So there, because it's got a nylon with SOS eyelets. I don't know what SOS eyelets means. I'm going to have to check that out later. So those are the two things I got at Maker's Mercantile, because I only had a half an hour. I could have bought way more stuff. Jenna, I have been to the Trader Joe's. I've been to 2 Trader Joe's, one that's up in Bellevue and the other one is over in Burien, I think. I've been to both. I've never the one in Bellevue, I've never been to a Trader Joe's that had a parking garage. That was new and interesting. It was a little more chaotic to get in and out of, I think, and I think the Burien one is a little bit further, but more accessible. So I probably will end up going to the Burien one. I think the Burien one is a little bit further, but more accessible. So I probably will end up going to the Burien one more frequently. There also was a very, very good Korean fried chicken place on my way to that one. So that might also tip it in its favor. Oh, it was so good. Okay, Karen, you've wanted to try one of those. So yeah, it's on my list. You like the turbo squared? My hands feel much better when I use them. So a lot of people like the turbo squared, but then there are people who it slows them down too much, that the bumps on it is too much and they want to go faster. So this is apparently for an in-between. Oh, Harley, have you used the Simply Natural before? It is really soft. Tool Lab, yeah. What do you think of Tool Test Track? That like is alliterative, and it reminds me of the Test Track at Epcot, because Test Track at Epcot is my son's favorite ride. Well, was when he was younger. Favorite ride, the one where you get to build your own car and then they freaking slingshot you around. It's very, very fast. Yeah, I'm not sure about the spirals either, Angelo. That's why I want to try to do it. Hello, Tina in Las Vegas. Nice. I was just reading something about Las Vegas. Oh, I saw a video about a guy touring a house that was an old house for sale that was built like in the 60s. And they said it was built by one of the Playboy photographers. And it was this really cool grotto-like house that is huge, like huge back part that was a photo studio. I'm like, that is cool. Sorry, distracted. Hello, Wanda in Raleigh. My husband is actually currently in Raleigh. I mean, I think he's in Raleigh. I know he's in the RTP. I'm not precisely sure what part of it he is, but he is there to do techie stuff, which is what you do in the RTP. But I believe he is in Raleigh. I'm going to pick him up from the airport tomorrow morning. Okay, so there's that. I have, as I said, been working on the first yarn store I went to. I got, did I already show you all this? I got this. I think I showed it in one of the videos, which this is the Sestari Sheep and Wool Company. This is a 75% cotton, 25% American raised merino from Virginia. And I have, you know what? I need to, you know what? I finished this swatch. So this is what happens when I finish a swatch and I don't have scissors. This is what I end up doing. I just leave the needle in it. So I'm going to go grab a pair of scissors real quick. So I can cut this off. It came upstairs and did not get cut. So I'm just going to cut it because I need to block this. Cut. That's just going to live there now. Okay. So I have made the Swatch Lab. I've made the swatch. I'm going to take a picture of it like this, just so we can see what I do is like throw it on one of my blocking boards and then put like, hello, like this, or another type of rigid ruler, just to give it an idea of how big it is, so that we get an idea of how big it is before. And like this is, see, it's all goobered up because this has not been blocked. So the lace is curling. Spoiler, the texture, this part looks fabulous. Looks great on both sides. So I love this in texture. It is dominant cotton. I do regret my needle choice. I should have known better. I did not use a slick stainless steel, but I used these. I very specifically used these, and I grabbed them thinking, oh, these are a little bit more blunt than what I normally use. And the aluminum has a little bit of drag. Not enough. Not enough. Should have used a wooden needle on this. It is cotton. 25% wool is not enough to fight that cotton. So that is something I will definitely talk about in the Swatch Lab. Very diverse architecture. Oh, in Las Vegas? Yes. I think Las Vegas is kind of like a little bit wacky on that front because it's people with a lot of money doing whatever the heck they want to do. I mean, it's just like, why not? Let's build that. That'll be good. No problem. Because they don't really have to deal with, is this going to fit into the landscape? Landscape is desert. You can build whatever you want. You moved across country and still have your scissors? Oh, dude. I found all the scissors when I was packing. I have all of the scissors. And this is the mug of motivation. But yeah, I have all the scissors. In packing, I tried to, organize a little bit. I didn't do it completely, but I did do some organization. Wacky about covers it. I was trying to be nice, Tina. I was like, Las Vegas has really some idiosyncrasies. That is fun. You can use alpaca, but you're allergic to non-superwash wool. However, it really indicates on the if the ball band does not say superwash, it is not superwash. I mean that if it just says wool, you cannot assume it's superwash. It will say superwash because superwash is more expensive. Superwash takes like more effort. So if it doesn't say superwash, it's not superwash. The vast majority of like your indie hand dyed yarns are going to be superwash simply because the superwash process, what it does to the structure of the yarn, makes it more receptive to brightly colored acid dyes. So the really bright colors that you see in these types of yarns are normally going to be on a superwash yarn. Now, they may not. Actually, let me hang on. We've got this that I showed you that I bought. See, this is superwash merino and 20% silk. Again, for my hand dyer. But yeah, unless it says superwash, do not guess. Especially if you're allergic, because that's not good. I personally am allergic to lanolin. And that only comes in with it only causes a problem for me with minimally processed wool. Most things that are just labeled wool, I'm pretty much okay with. But if you get into stuff from like a real artisan type situation, someone who is specifically working with heritage breeds and are doing the most they can to like process it to a minimize their processing, those I can have problems. I can have allergic reactions too on my hands when I try to knit with those if it is a lanolin rich wool. But most of the time, the process of cleaning and spinning and dyeing and everything knocks it out enough that it's not a problem for me. Angelo. Oh, so were you talking about the cotton yarn? It is really nice yarn. And yes, stitch definition on it is extreme, which is going to make it less suitable for some projects, but awesome for other projects. So it just depends on what you're looking for. You like Swatch Lab Soft? Well, it'll be better when it's blocked. Okay, so another thing I've been working on, and I need to work on this some more, is, get in here. Okay. y'all, there seems to have been, I've been kind of, um, off the, oop, hang on. I've been, I've been kind of off the grid a little bit, incommunicado of like what's going on. I haven't been spending a lot of time on Ravelry. I haven't been a lot of time following trends. And so I need to kind of get back on that job. And one thing that seems to be, it hasn't changed. It started from before kind of sabbatical. Um, Tiny scarves, these tiny scarves or shawlettes or whatever people are calling them. It started and was kicked off by the Sophie, by Petite Knits, but they're small, they're skinny, and like the Sophie has got that elongated triangle where you knit until it's this big and then you decrease, increase until this size, decrease till this size kind of situation. And they're, people seem to really, really like them. I don't know if it's the instant gratification. So I was thinking about what I could do, and I don't, um, old wooden needles broke on you. Um, I'm not familiar with rosewood needles, but a lot of the newer wooden needles, they're the laminated like birch and stuff like that. And they are a lot stronger because instead of it just being a single piece of wood that's been like turned, it's multiple layers of glued together, adhesive together somehow, wood that is then turned. So it has a much higher strength level. But so I was thinking, I am not the biggest fan of that elongated triangle shape. Um, I don't, I'm fine with the, and it's not that I don't like the visual of the shape. I don't like the process of making it. I'm fine with the increasing part, but then I get annoyed when I have to do the decreasing part. I don't know why. It just bugs me. I'm like, because the increasing part, like when you do the increases, it like works and it flows smoothly. And I always feel like the decreasing part looks clumsy. It just doesn't do it for me. So I was thinking of doing a small little scarflet, but with the just a rectangle on the bias. I really like rectangles on the bias. Y'all have seen them. Let me know. I mean, do you think that's a good idea? So this is the swatch I've been making for it. And so this, it's hard to show you what it was there. So the thing is this, the top and the bottom would be parallel, and then this is at an angle. It's hard to tell like what the shape is going to be with this little tiny bit, but what I wanted to show you is the idea of, and I think it would need to be, okay, so this, and this is a swatch because I'm like, how wide should it be? And so right now, with the number of repeats I have, it's right at 4 inches wide. Now, when it's blocked, it'll probably get don't want to block it too aggressively because the technique I'm using, it would become visible. This might get to maybe 4.5. So this is definitely, I don't think, wide enough. But how wide would you want a long skinny scarf that you're going to just tie around a couple times and then like do the Sophie scarf with? How wide would you want that? Because I mean, I have a little short neck. So this right here is like the height of, I mean, if you look at that, that is hitting my jaw and my collarbone. But I have a very short neck and a chunky one at that. Now, one of the things that's cool about this is what I'm doing here, because whenever I can, I really am about if something's definitely going to be seen on both sides, it needs to be reversible. So, and this is knitting with stripes and using slip stitches because it's me. This is what I do. But it's essentially a double knit fabric, but you don't have to do 2 strands. It's like a slip stitch situation, but effectively the fabric it produces is it's not using your standard, like what has become the standard um, double knit technique. It's using a slip stitch technique, but it achieves. So there's that. Because the thing is, I bought these little baby, so I only have 200 yards. So I don't know how wide I can get because I still need to be able for it to be long enough for it to be tied or to go around a couple times. I don't know. That's the things that I think about is like, how wide does this need to be and how many repeats do I need to cast on and how, like, what are people going to want? This is what the chart I'm working for looks from, but the thing is it's only a 4-stitch repeat, so this is multiple repeats across. So this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it's 5 repeats right now. So that is what I am working on right now. It is in its way similar to Rev It Up. Yes, actually it is. I'm taking a section of the motif from my Sea Rock City, my Rock City scarf that's in Mosaic and Lace Knits. There's a vertical striping in the Rock City and it's isolates. There's a vertical striping in the Rock City and it's isolating that out and putting it on a bias. So it's got some idiosyncrasies to it. I already used that word twice tonight. I think I have exceeded the normal amount of times someone would use that word. Let me show you. But yes, it's the same concept as Rev It Up to an extent. The Rev It Up, it's more about, because it's only one color, it's single slip stitches. It's hard to explain how it's slightly different, but it's same diff. Here, I'm getting this up so y'all can see it. And actually, there we go. Okay, so I have a little button here that says share screen. And then we're going to go to, okay. So it's based on this portion. This is the Sea Rock City scarf. And you can see how it is. And here is someone else's version of it, where you can really see they used a more higher contrast color scheme than I did, because I was going for something and trying to make it look really, really masculine. And this is a little brighter, but you can really see that it's the same as what I was just doing, and it is reversible. Actually, I think she's got a folder over so you can see that, but this is there. You can see, because you can see here, it's the back side of the lace, and here's the front of the lace and the stripes. So there it goes. So that is that. One of the things I've been thinking about, I need to reinvent the wheel every single time, that I need to have something completely original that no one's ever seen before every single time I do a pattern. And when I get frustrated and it takes up a lot of time, what I've realized is that my book was published in 2016, I think. I got to double check that. 2017. So my book was published in 2017, which is not quite 10 years ago, but it's quite some time ago. And the mosaic lace motifs in that book, every single one of them I created. Every single one of them I did from scratch. And for the vast majority of them, that's the only place they've ever shown up. So what I've been thinking about is going back and looking at the motifs that I created for those patterns and seeing if now they speak to me in a different way and tell me that they want to be something different, because they were all very much this is it's my process, and once it tells me what it wants to be, I have a hard time convincing it to be anything else. That's why I ended up with the pillow. But it's been long enough that maybe they say something else to me, and going in and looking at these motifs that I have created and seeing what else, because somebody might like the motif but they don't necessarily want to knit it on whatever it is I put it on. So figuring out different ways to incorporate that motif for the ones that can be done like that. There are things that like the quatrefoil cap, that it is so integrated into the shaping of the hat that I can't think of anywhere else I could use something like that, because it's just that hat. But I don't know. And so that's why I took this striping kind of technique and was trying to see what else I could do with it. Okay, yay, somebody else likes bias. Jenna, you are me in the Stumpy Neck Club. 4 inches is good. See, there's plenty of short neck people out there. Maybe I'll just stick with that size, because when I block it, it should open up much a little bit, and then I could get a major length. Which yarn is this? Which yarn are we talking about? If you could elaborate, because I've shown a lot of yarn. What yarn do I have the green? Oh yeah, so that's that. So what you're looking for is in the stripey, because I'm like, I have 2 green yarns here. So it is Hazel Knits. I really like Hazel Knits, and Hazel Knits is here in Seattle. And they have a store that I hope I will get permission to film in. So this is Hazel Knits, and this is Cadence. Cadence is their worsted weight. It is 100% superwash, I believe, but I will double check that. Yes, it's 100% superwash, but these are specifically, she sells these half skeins. So these are only 100 yards a piece, and I think it's so that you can do small amounts of color work. You don't normally see half skeins of worsted weight. Did I say it's worsted weight? It's worsted weight. And so the colors, so that specific color is Aquarius, because I think that Mandarin is going to be the orange. So the greeny blue is Aquarius. And I just liked those two together when I bought this yarn. I bought it when I came out over Christmas, over the holidays. But that is, so yeah, Hazel Knits. I think you can just Google, let me see if I can Google her. Looks like she does have that you can shop her yarn. There it is, Cadence. Yes, so you can go to her website and shop on her website. I think that the half skeins might be only in person, but I'm not 100% sure. Mary Ellen, here's the interesting thing. It will not roll. Because of the double knitting technique, it's not going to roll. It looks like stockinette on both sides, but it isn't. It's got purling and slip stitches in it, which flattens it out and it will lay flat. Technically, you really won't even need to block it, but I like blocking it because it's going to give me color. I mean, give it like the color work. It's going to neaten it up a bit and it'll loosen it up a bit, but it won't roll. I could knit it as big as I want. It's not going to roll, which is sneaky. My sound is gone. Oh no, so we have some saying that there is sound. Didn't we have this issue before? Is Is the internet being a butthead? I know that my internet is not as good as it used to be. Um, oh, in that picture, no, that is not my son. That is the model that they hired to do that. He is handsome, isn't he? He's we definitely wanted a hipster. Oh, the ad caused the sound to go out. I'm sorry. Uh, you know what? I said I've done everything I can to make it not have ads, but it really won't let me. What has happened in the past when I've set it completely to no ads, then YouTube does not suggest it to anybody, and my numbers just plummeted. So I set it to ads, but I manually place them, which seems to have cut down on the ads a little bit, but not, there's not a lot I can do. Karen, if I were not designing knitwear for a job, would you still be knitting and creating your own designs? That's a really interesting question. I can say yes, I would still be knitting. And it has been so long since I've tried to knit someone else's pattern that I don't know what to say about that. I think I would mix it up. Yes, I would probably still be doing my own thing because I'm just not the best at following directions. I get very defiant. I'm like, yeah, who are you to tell me what to do? I want to do something different. And the reason I started designing in the first place is because I was trying to knit something fairly simple, and I was like, hang on. There is a road directly outside my window, but I'm on the third story on the hill, but it still gets noisy. Sorry. Yeah, I just can't. I can't resist improvising, and I might be still doing my own thing, but the thing about why I knit is, and this might be the primary thing that changes based on this change, this move in my life. I do not to date wear anything I knit. I don't wear scarves. I don't wear every once in a while it would get cold enough in Atlanta that I would wear fingerless mitts. But since I moved to Florida, so for the last 7 years, I don't wear anything I knit. I am a process knitter and I enjoy the process of knitting. So I don't know that I would be that driven to continue to make up things for myself because they would just go in a box. Um, Maybe I would get into knitting like charity kind of situation for other people. I don't know what I would do. I am horrible with hypotheticals. I'm really just really bad at hypotheticals because there's so many moving parts that I have a hard time being like, because honestly, if I hadn't fallen in love with the puzzles of the designing and writing and the challenges of writing the pattern, I don't know that I would have stayed with knitting so long because that is like a huge part of what I like about what I do. But also it's frustrating at times. So I don't know. That is a whole bunch of no answer for your question. Sorry. Patterns are just suggestions. Um, I agree. If you want to have fun, you should play with it. I also will say that with a lot of my patterns, monkeying with them, do at your own risk because a lot of my patterns are very delicately balanced. And if do you remember Lincoln Logs or the pickups, the sticks, and everything, where you start pulling things out of one of my patterns, and there's a very high probability that the whole thing is going to collapse because a lot of my work is very delicately balanced and things can go sideways very, very quickly if you monkey with a couple of stitches. That's one of the things when I'm teaching the mosaic and lace and I'm teaching about that slip stitch color work, trying to convince people that you cannot substitute decreases. If I say if I say slip, slips, knit, I mean slip, slip, knit. Knit two together through the back loop is not going to work, is not going to look right. And that is a fight I have had in multiple classes that I have taught. People who have been raised up being told that knit two together through the back loop is the same thing as slip, slip, knit. And them like trying to do the color work and them saying it's not right, it's wrong, and I'm like, no, I'm like, are you doing slip, slip, knit? And they're like, yes, I'm doing slip, slip. And then finally I walk over to physically watch what they're doing. I'm like, that is not slip, slip, knit, that is knit two together through the back loop. And they're like, well, it's the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's just not. And if you start substituting the directionality of the decreases in the color work that I designed specifically, it's not going to work. It's going to cause problems, and convincing people that is kind of rough sometimes. Yes, Tina, that's why I said I prefaced the whole thing is that this might change. I might actually start wearing I might actually have a whole pile of stuff that I can wear now, and that would be fantastic. Thank you, Mark. I'm trying to remember my video on creativity, but I'm glad that it resonated with you. So, I'm so many videos. And I'm trying to think of videos to make for the coming weeks. It's just right now. Where did I write it down? No, it says deli turkey, hard boiled. That's not what we want. That is my lunch. Oh, I wrote down a whole list. I was thinking about doing pattern tours for older patterns that I released before 2016, which is when I started this video thing, and making pattern tours for pieces that never got pattern tours made because the YouTube channel didn't exist. So that's on my list. I thought I wrote down other things. I need to start writing things down because my brain is like a sieve sometimes. Oh, thank you for joining us, Angelo. You have a good evening. Pattern is a suggestion. What's the difference in slip, slip, knit and knit two together from the front? So knit two together makes a right leaning single decrease, and slip, slip, knit makes a left leaning single decrease. So one of them, the decrease leans in this direction, and one of them, the decrease leans in this direction. So you have this. And visually, especially if like if you're using it for shaping in a garment or something like that, because it not only affects the visual appearance of how the stitches lie, but it's how the stitches go into, and it does things to the columns, right? And then if it's interacting with yarn overs like lace, then like depending on where the yarn over is, like if you do slip, slip, knit yarn over, knit two together, that yarn over that's between the two is going to close up because the slip, slip, knit is leaning into the yarn over. Whereas if it's knit two together, yarn over, that knit two together is pulling the stitches away from the yarn over. It's going to open up that yarn over. And also if they are directional stitches. And so if there's more directional stitches, they are directional stitches. And so if there's more directional stitches, if you have a line of knit two togethers that are stacking up and making this nice diagonal, and you put a slip knit in the middle, it's going to break it. It's going to break that line. It's going to make it look jagged. It's not going to be as smooth. So the direction is very important in lace. It's very important in lace, but it's also important if you have visible shaping lines, like in a garment, especially if it's in like a field of stockinette. Is it that important in like garter? No, not so much. In stockinette, when you're going to see that, it makes a big difference. So it's the directionality of you have left leaning and right. You've got left leaning decreases and right leaning decreases. And once you get up into double decreases, you have centered decreases. And that is very important in the work that I do, because, and the reason why it makes a difference in the slip stitch mosaic the lace that I do, is I have put a lot of time and effort into figuring out, because what it is so if you've got 3 stitches going into a decrease, right? 3 stitches going into a decrease, and the color is color A, color B, color B, and you want color A to come up on top, there's only one decrease that color A is going to come out on top. If your colors are B, A, B, there's only one decrease where the A is going to come up on top. And that one can make the difference between the line of color work continuing or the line of color work being chopped off. So it's really important in what I do specifically. In other contexts, maybe not such a big deal, but what I do is important. Cindy, I've only managed to get to 2, technically 3 local yarn stores. I've been to the New Knittery, which is in Renton, the city I live in. I've been to Maker's Mercantile, which is down in Kent and near the IKEA. And I have been to the Hazel Knits factory store, which is, I think it's Georgetown. Not sure exactly, but it's much, much closer to Seattle. I have a whole list of places I want to go. And we're going to do it. Tina, I guess you just kind of know it. Actually, one of my absolute favorite, let me see if I can find it. Because this cracks me up because somebody else wrote this. Okay. This was not me. And I saw it in someone's, project notes on Ravelry. And let me see if I can find it. It's going to be something that has projects with notes. Okay, hang on. Large photos. And then I'm going to go to tall cards. Here we go. Some people didn't like the stripe, and I am fine with them fixing it. So we're talking about Courant. Oh, yeah, I can't find it. I don't have enough time to find it. I don't want you guys to sit here and watch me. But it's essentially the knitter said, just do what the nice lady tells you to do. Because they were like, I don't understand what's happening here. And I think you should just do what the nice lady told you to do. And I'm like, yes, that's me. I am the nice lady that you should listen to. I appreciate it. Hang on. I don't know. Okay. Nobody comments? Okay, so does anybody have any questions? We're at right over an hour. Um, so is 7 o'clock still good for most people? Do you guys think we should try? Do y'all think we should try a different time? Another question would be, what's going on behind me? Interesting. I got this hung up, so it's a little bit more interesting, but from this angle, because so this is, I can't use my phone for this. I have to use my webcam, and you've got this mirror. I have this mirror that I've had forever, but I don't want to, I can't put heavy enough anchors in the wall to hold it, because it's it's a rental, and they get cranky if we put giant holes in the wall, which I don't blame them. I'm not complaining, I'm just saying it's a thing. And so I have my mirrors just leaning up against the wall. You would love later, but not everyone's the night owl. Yeah, because see, and that's where it is, because so it's a little after 8 on the East Coast now. So that's, I just don't know. I don't know what's reasonable. Say Katya says at 8 p.m. is their knitting time. And I mean, 4 o'clock is not a problem for me. So I don't have a huge issue with that. It's just, I can plan. Okay, we're getting rid of that. That's distracting me. Oh, okay, wait a minute. See, this is what I do. So we talked about, okay, videos I need to make. So we talked about, we need to make the, what do we call it? Tool test track. I have 2 Swatch labs. Okay, so those 2 things need to get done. How many Swatch labs is too many Swatch labs? Would you guys like maybe 1 a month? Is that good? Or would multiple a month be too much? I need to make store tour videos, but that's going to take a little bit more effort. I haven't tried store tour videos with my my new phone. Well, my non-iPhone. So I don't know how is that going to work. Okay, Harley, are you still wearing the one and only garment, a sweater, I believe, that you decided to knit? Have you ever made another garment? So you know what? That is a really good question. Because the answer is I wore it once. I have it. It is in my closet. And it's one of the reasons why I previously had not knit garments. Because I decided and finally decided that I wanted to knit that garment, and I had lost, like, I think 40 pounds. I had lost a chunk of weight, and it dropped me down a size and put me into a size where I felt was reasonable for the amount of money that I needed to spend on the yarn and the amount of time it would take me to knit and my confidence level in wearing it. And so I knit the garment and I wore it once, and then I gained weight and now it doesn't fit. And that is one of the major reasons I have never knit garments, because of my size, because of the amount of money it costs to buy enough yarn to make a garment my size, and the amount of time investment it takes to make a garment my size, and the fact that my weight fluctuates so much that it may or may not fit at any given time. So that's really why I don't knit. All of the clothes I buy, when I buy clothes, I buy them kind of one size bigger than I need, so that I have the room and I'm not constantly buying new clothes. And it's too much of a time and money investment for something that I'm only going to get one opportunity to wear it. So, and that is an unfortunate truth for me. But again, one of the major reasons I never made garments. Gotcha wants me to knit all the Swatch labs. Okay, Gotcha. Did you imagine the little stick figures throwing their arms in the air? So what is that from? What was that? God, I can't remember that blogger from way back. Yes, knit all the Swatch labs. So the 7 p.m. scene, we're probably gonna 4 a.m. Ouch, stitch itch. That's nasty. That's not good. That's one thing though. My husband, his company didn't have any problem with him moving here, but he still works on Eastern Standard Time. So his day starts at 6 a.m. He works from 6 to 2 because he's on Eastern Time. And you know what? Then he takes a nap. So it works for him. Okay, so looks like we're just gonna, for now, I think we'll keep it at 7, 7 Eastern Time. It's gonna take me a while. Actually, it's gonna be interesting once it starts getting dark, because that is something, again, that is going to be very, very new for me. Apparently it starts getting dark at like 3 and 4 o'clock once you hit a certain point towards the late fall and the winter, which is not anything I've experienced before. Somebody called it the big dark, which sounds incredibly ominous, but we'll find out. And maybe I'll get a headlamp. I got one of those neck things to knit with. Oh, thank you, Stitch Edge. If you could click the thumbs up button, if you're enjoying this chitty chat that we're having, I would appreciate it. It makes YouTube happy, and then YouTube shows my stuff to more people. Hyperbole and a half. Thank you, Katya. That is exactly. That is exactly. I remember her. Oh my gosh. That's like early 2000s, isn't it? But yes, she was hilarious. Ali Brosh. Yep. See, sounds like Mark, the bass player, might be a good-sized individual. It's a lot of money. It's really expensive when you're like, especially with the trend in sweaters right now. Hello. The trend in sweaters right now is like freaking 12 to 20 inches of positive ease. And I'm just like, that's absolutely absurd. I mean, I have like a 52-inch bust, and if you take a 52-inch bust and add 20 inches of positive ease to it, that is 72 inches around. Like that is so much yarn. I mean, it is so much yarn. And it's just, and so many ends to weave in. Just so many ends. Because they're all color work. No. So yeah. A bit, but might change my mind. Again, since I'm going to be living in some place that is actually someplace where you can wear sweaters, maybe I'll make a sweater. It's possible. It's possible. Maybe cardigans, because cardigans are open in the front. That might help me with my expansion and contraction situation. You use your happy light in the mornings and starting in the fall to help with sad. I was thinking that we might need to get one of those SAD lights, one of the happy lights, because my husband has lived in the South all his life. My son was born in Atlanta. I mean, I have, of the three of us, I'm the only one that has lived in colder regions, but they've never really experienced winter, like an actual winter. So I definitely think we're going to have to get those, the make you happy lights. I mean, we have medicine, but also we're going to need these, I think. Christina, yes. The day we moved in, I was standing on our little balcony watching the sunset and realized it was 9:45. I'm like, why is the sun setting at 10 o'clock at night? So again, it's so much adjustment. So much adjustment. It's not, Tina, I would say it's not just this good stuff you want to knit with. Do you want to wear cheap yarn? I mean, because that's, yeah, it's, I'll stick to knitting accessories. That is what I have made. I mean, if you look at my portfolio, that is what I do. I knit accessories. I enjoy knitting accessories. I enjoy designing accessories. So I don't see myself. I don't. Somebody made a comment about, oh, maybe you'll start designing sweaters. No, just no. That's not going to happen. I know some of you might have your fingers crossed, and you can tell me I told you so if I do it in the future, but I'm going to go with 99% chance I will not be publishing any sweater designs because it gets into sizing and grading and so much math. So much math. And at that point in time, actual like tests, trying to get people to test out and make sure that not garments are not my cup of tea. There are many, many, many amazing garment designers out there that I can't even begin to pretend like I could hold a candle to them. Garments are very unlikely at best. Tracy, a pattern suggestion for a variegated diagonal wrap. What do you mean diagonal? I need a better, because hurricane season very definitely was specifically designed to work with variegated yarns. It is a side-to-side asymmetrical boomerang style. Yeah, no grading. I don't do grading, Elizabeth. I do every once in a while. I'll have like on hats and on fingerless mitts. I'll have a couple of different sizes, but those don't need as drastic of grading as a garment is going to. Hmm. But I need more info on diagonal. I'm not sure what diagonal means. Oh yeah, people in cooler climates, warmer. I think I'm probably going to actually get to wear cabbages and kings, which is a beast of a thing. And again, that I think we might see me designing in heavier yarns, possibly more texture, less lace, because so much of my work was focused on lightening things up to be able to have a longer wearing season in the South and not having to worry about that and being able to do heavier things. Burbank is not something that I have. No, I don't know what Burbank is. It's a city, I believe. Let me go look. I'm going to Google it. I think that was maybe a mistype. I think and that's why it was retracted, Tracy. I believe. Yeah, hurricane season was specifically designed for wacky yarn. Impulse buy. Again, if that's the shape you're looking for, that side to side asymmetrical triangle, impulse buy works very well with variegated yarns as well. Rectangle shaped diagonal pattern. Oh, you're looking for a bias. You're looking for a rectangle on the bias. With a variegated yarn. Variegated yarn by itself. I don't know if I've designed one specifically for that. I do have quite a few. Headless Roses is gigantic. I mean, it is a huge. I would not knit. Actually, honestly, I didn't even knit it. Headless Roses, I actually had to pay someone to finish knitting it for me because I had deadlines and I had knit half of it. I finished like the beginning and halfway through the texture, and I had to send it to a sample knitter to finish it because I did not have time because it is just such a beast. Amazing pattern. I'm sorry. I can't really say that myself. I love that pattern. It's one of my favorite patterns. I wonder if Cloud Street Stole would. I don't know. How variegated are we talking? Would be my question. Because Cloud Street, I really love Cloud Street. I find it a lovely pattern. And it looks like this. And that's me. I liked this one so much that I modeled it. But if you look at the stitch, it's got a fairly large cinch stitch and then this large ladder lace that looks like drop stitches. So I think it could probably pull off a certain amount of variegation. Depends on how variegated. You'd have to look at how the stitch pattern, how much you liked it. But you can see. I'm trying to find if I have a picture that shows you. So the pattern is on the diagonal. It just gave me an error. Am I still here? This is really weird. More than one ingestion is using the primary URL. Send one stream to primary ingestion. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, but Tracy, I think that Cloud Street might work for you. You don't have to make it as long as I did. I made it really long because the yarn was just a lot of yarn. But I really like this piece, and I really think that it could handle the variegation. So that's Cloud Street. Okay. Okay. So I am here, but you didn't see the pattern. Okay, yeah, I was trying to share the stream and it was not doing it. So weird. So I'm still here, but not all the way. Okay. Let me see if I can find. I'm going to do this the hard way. Here we go. There. So that is Cloud Street Stole, and it has a lace pattern, and it's at an angle. Yay, everybody's still here. Okay, this is not cooperating with me. I think I'm done. I'm done with that. Something came up. Does anybody still use Pinterest anymore? It's been a while since I've heard about Pinterest, but a Pinterest post popped up. I was like, oh, Pinterest still exists? It's just like every once in a while something will pop up and like MySpace still exists. I'm like, I didn't know that still exists. What is up with that? But I love Cloud Street. And in the cloud, in the Anzula cloud, it's that yarn itself it's more of a lace weight. It's so soft. That one took forever. I actually knit part of that one in a bar. I was just sitting here, remember knitting it in a bar. Good night, Karen. Okay, so Katya still uses Pinterest. That's what I thought, Olaf's son. Last time I tried to look at Pinterest, it was like 80% sponsored ads. I was like, I don't know. This seems like a waste of time. But I can totally understand if people do. Okay. Thank y'all so much for joining me in this first live broadcast that we have done from my new home in Seattle. I really appreciate all of the patience that y'all have shown during this process, because I know I looked at my stuff and like the last real video I posted was in February, and I continued to do lives, but then I had to even quit those. They just didn't, I couldn't do it for a while. You use it to organize your knitting projects. Good, that's smart. You see, and you use it for yourself. Hey, Vivian. But I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to do my very best to start ramping back up and getting back to posting at least one video a week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do some shorts. I really feel like I need to, and I want to apologize to those of y'all who don't like the shorts. But if I do shorts, YouTube bumps me up in the algorithm and makes my stuff available to more viewers. If I don't do shorts, I am penalized. So I'm probably going to have to do some shorts just to appease the YouTube gods. You gotta do what the algorithm makes you to do for using this space. Yes, Cloud Street, the Cloud Street stole is on Ravelry, and it's on my website. So whichever one you like to use here. If you like Ravelry, I call it a stole because it's a stole. Everybody calls things wraps now, and I'm like, it's all wraps. A stole is a specific shape. I'm so glad you were able to make it, everybody. Mark, it's good. Say goodbye to Mrs. Bass Player for me. Yes, new stuff, old stuff, sideways stuff. We're gonna figure it out again. So we'll be doing this again next month in September. My mom might be in town, but I'll just make her not be in the room. She knows I gotta work. And I really appreciate, again, all your patience and all your happy thoughts and all your wonderful wishes and all the cool suggestions of places for me to look in Washington. I definitely need to get on that little top part, whatever that little top coast is called, right before you get to Victoria. That looks like a lot of fun, and I want to invite her. I don't know if my mom, no, I don't know about that. That could be funny. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of exploring. I'd be exploring more if gas wasn't so expensive. But is what it is. So again, thank you very much. I will hopefully see you next month, and it'll be same bat time, same bat channel. Okay. So I'm going to go to the button. Thank you so much, y'all. I'm going to end the stream and push the button, and we're going.